In the year 363 AD, the Roman Empire launched one of the most daring invasions in its entire history. More than 60,000 Roman soldiers marched deep into Persian territory toward the legendary capital of Ctesiphon. Leading them was a young emperor with an enormous ambition. He wanted to achieve something no Roman ruler had done in centuries: defeat the mighty Sasanian Empire on its own soil. But this bold campaign would soon turn into a disastrous gamble, a decision so shocking that it would trap an entire Roman army in enemy territory and doom the emperor who led them. This is the story of Rome's invasion of Persia and the Battle of Ctesiphon. At the center of this story stood a man few expected to become a great general. His name was Julian the Apostate. Unlike most Roman emperors, Julian was not raised for war. He was a philosopher and a scholar who spent much of his youth studying Greek literature and ancient philosophy. But history had different plans. In the year 357 AD, Julian was given command of Roman forces in Gaul, a frontier constantly threatened by barbarian tribes. Many expected the young commander to fail. Instead, he surprised everyone. At the Battle of Strasbourg, Julian led a smaller Roman army against a much larger coalition of Germanic warriors. Against all expectations, the Romans won a crushing victory. Overnight, the quiet philosopher became one of Rome's most celebrated military leaders. His soldiers admired him deeply. He shared their hardships, marched beside them, and fought in the front lines. This loyalty would soon change the fate of the empire. While Julian's popularity grew in the West, the Roman emperor in the East was becoming increasingly uneasy. That emperor was Constantius II. In Roman politics, a successful general with loyal soldiers could easily become a rival for the throne, and the tension between the two men continued to rise. Eventually, Constantius ordered Julian to send many of his best troops to the Eastern Front, but the soldiers refused. They feared leaving their homes unprotected from barbarian invasions. In the winter of 360 AD, Roman troops surrounded Julian's residence in the city of Paris. In the middle of the night, they proclaimed him emperor. For a brief moment, it seemed that the Roman world would descend into civil war. But fate intervened. Before the two armies could meet in battle, Constantius died during a campaign in the east. Suddenly, Julian became the sole ruler of the Roman Empire. Now, with the entire empire under his command, he could pursue a dream that had been growing in his mind for years, a campaign that would rival the legendary conquests of Alexander the Great. Julian believed that true glory could only be achieved in the East, and the greatest rival Rome faced there was the powerful Persian ruler Shapur II. For decades, Shapur had fought fiercely against Rome. He had invaded Roman territory, captured cities, and constantly threatened the empire's eastern frontier. Julian decided it was time for a decisive strike. In 362 AD, Julian began preparing one of the largest Roman military expeditions in generations. By the following year, a massive army had assembled. Historians estimate that around 60 to 65,000 Roman soldiers joined the campaign. Legionaries, cavalry, archers, and engineers marched together toward Persian territory. But Julian knew that numbers alone were not enough. The biggest challenge would be logistics. Feeding and supplying such a massive force across the harsh lands of Mesopotamia was extremely difficult. To solve this problem, the Romans built a huge supply fleet. Hundreds of ships loaded with food, weapons, and siege equipment sailed alongside the army along the Euphrates River. Everything was prepared. In March of 363 AD, the invasion began. The Roman army crossed into Persian territory, and there would be no turning back. At first, the Roman advance seemed unstoppable. Fortresses surrendered quickly when they saw the size of Julian's army. Some cities were captured after fierce resistance, but the Persians were not rushing into battle. King Shapur II had chosen a different strategy. Instead of confronting the Romans directly, Persian forces retreated deeper into their own territory. As they withdrew, they destroyed crops, burned supplies, and flooded farmland. It was a brutal tactic known as scorched-earth warfare. Without food or resources, the Roman army would slowly weaken. Yet Julian kept pushing forward. His ultimate goal lay ahead, the magnificent Persian capital of Ctesiphon. After months of marching across Mesopotamia, the Romans finally reached the outskirts of the city. But a powerful Persian army blocked their path. Across the river stood elite Persian cavalry. These were heavily armored warriors known as cataphracts. Behind them waited one of the most terrifying weapons of ancient warfare, war elephants. Despite the danger, Julian made a bold decision. Under the cover of darkness, Roman troops began crossing the river. Persian arrows rained down on the boats. Several ships caught fire, but Roman soldiers managed to land on the opposite bank. Once they formed their shield formations, the battle turned brutal. Step by step, the Roman infantry pushed the Persians back. Eventually, the Persian forces retreated towards the safety of the city. For a moment, it seemed that Julian had achieved a remarkable victory, but the hardest challenge still remained. The city of Ctesiphon was heavily fortified. Its massive walls made a quick assault almost impossible. A long siege would require enormous supplies, and that was exactly what the Romans did not have. Even worse, reports arrived that King Shapur II was approaching with a much larger army. Julian now faced a terrible dilemma: retreat with his fleet and supplies, or march deeper into Persian territory and try to outmaneuver the enemy. In a shocking decision, Julian ordered the Roman fleet destroyed. Hundreds of ships carrying food and equipment were set on fire along the river. The flames rose into the night sky. With that order, Julian eliminated the Roman army's safest route home. Their soldiers were now trapped deep in enemy territory. Soon after leaving Ctesiphon behind, the Roman army began a difficult retreat through the harsh landscapes of Mesopotamia. Persian forces constantly harassed them with attacks and ambushes. Food was scarce, morale was falling. Then, disaster struck. During a sudden clash with Persian troops, Emperor Julian rushed into battle without wearing his armor. In the chaos of the fight, a spear struck him. The wound was fatal. Within hours, the emperor who dreamed of conquering Persia was dead. The Roman army eventually managed to escape Persia, but only after negotiating a humiliating peace treaty. What began as Rome's boldest invasion of the East ended as a tragic lesson in ambition and strategy, and the Battle of Ctesiphon became one of the most dramatic turning points in the long conflict between Rome and Persia.